Welcome back to episode 20 on the moon. In this episode, I will start creating volatiles, and there are two methods for it. This is my script that I'll be using to control the furnaces that will make the volatiles from biomass. So there's basically two ways to make volatiles. One is to use a advanced composter that also requires water for input. The other, and that results in fertilizer. The other is to use a furnace. In my case, I will use an arc furnace for that. And running the biomass to an arc furnace generates charcoal. I take the charcoal and run it through a second arc furnace to degas it. So basically, the first arc furnace will generate volatiles and pollutants, and the second arc furnace that basically reburns the charcoal to degas it will generate, I believe, more pollutants and CO2. So effectively, by running the biomass through twice, I'll end up with both volatiles and carbon dioxide, and the resulting charcoal can be used for either making steel or for burning in a solid generator. And since it's been degassed, the solid generator will not generate any off-gassing, although it does, I believe, will put out heat if it's put in an environment with atmosphere in it. Another thing I'm working on is improving the lighting conditions a little bit more. So we'll throw a few more lights in here. Now the Larrys, or little robot arms running there, they seem to be fine with the change I made. So everything's running okay there. So what I don't know is, over a long time frame, is 2 centrifuges enough to keep up or not, and we'll just find out. I really don't have room for any additional ones. I guess I can put them somewhere. Worry about that later. The other thing I do, I can switch over to gas centrifuges, and that one gas one would be more insufficient. There's enough room, so that's sort of the long-term goal in this case, is get things running, get volatiles treated, and once I have the volatiles, I can start mixing the gas for fuel gas, and then once I have that, then I can just replace those centrifuges with gas one, since I now have the flow of volatiles being generated. Now, being the moon, I of course just mine volatiles and go that route too. So we're kicking out a lot more chutes. Now the resulting charcoal, I'm actually going to send it down into the deep basement. I'm gathering bits and pieces I need for my arc furnaces. So effectively, I'll put those in a box with a ActiveVent, and I put a gas sensor in there also. I think what the gas sensor does, it allows me to detect when the room goes to a vacuum, and I just turn off the ActiveVent. So the ActiveVent doesn't continually to run all the time. It just runs when it needs to, which is also interesting because I can look to the glass and see if the ActiveVent is running or not. If it's not running, then I know there's no gas inside that room. Now I do have a startup condition. Since I'm building all this in an atmosphere environment, and I'll be generating volatiles, I need to exhaust all the gas out of that area before I start generating volatiles. So that's what the passive vent is for. So I'll just kind of leverage the active vent I put inside, and I'll kind of put a pipe and use that to vent out all the gas initially. And once that's done, then I'll switch the piping around a little bit. Now the script is, I wrote the script for controlling the active furnaces. I think I made it a little more sophisticated than a very simple, you know, what you see with a 2-logic chip design. So what the script basically does is that, well, if it basically controls 2 arc furnaces, and it's not very clever about that. Since it's not much logic, I don't, you know, have any fancy routines. I just duplicate the code twice in this case, keep it simple. There's my little sensor inside and the ActiveVent, and it's going to cable it all up. So all it does, it looks at the furnace and it looks at the idle. If it's not idle, which means running, it leaves it alone and doesn't do anything. So now it waits. So basically it waits until it turns into a non-idle state. Once it goes non-idle, which means it's not doing anything, then it goes ahead and looks at the input, which is slot 0, if there's anything in it. If there's anything in it, it will do the activate. If there's nothing in it, it'll do activate and make sure it's powered on. So power on, then activate. If there's nothing in the input, it'll power it off. So basically the furnace will get powered up and down depending on if it's doing anything useful. Not sure how much power that actually saves, but it's also useful for debugging because I can see the powered state of the furnace going on and off. That gives me some indication of what the script believes what's going on. All right, so now we're going to put some chutes in here, and so effectively the output from the centrifuge gets routed down in here. I don't use window chutes. The reason is because I'm just going to trust everything works. The windows are actually useful. You kind of see the flow, but in this case, trusting the code, trusting everything's going to work, so I'm just not going to bother doing that. All right, so this is the output of the charcoal when I'm done. And for now, I'm just going to send it downstairs, and we'll worry about it later. This is a nice aspect of stacking your buildings, different floors, is that you can route things up and down a lot easier. I'm just getting this set up in a default state. So before I turn the chip on, I'll just power it up and it'll start running. And then once after that, I can go ahead and enable the code once it hits a vacuum. Okay, just double checked everything. All right, so we have chutes going into one furnace, routed to the second furnace, and then out it goes downstairs. Actually, right now it goes outside. We'll route that downstairs in a minute. Go ahead and close this up. Now, the amount of gas generated at any one time is not a lot, so we can just use normal, windows there. And as long as that vent comes on when it's need to be, then we're fine. If I can spell transformer, I'm going to make a small transformer that will be used to isolate the arc furnace logic and components from everything else. I'm trying to do that a little bit more. Alright, so we got our chip, our housing, we got a bunch of chutes, and I had a transformer down here. Oh, that transformer is being used. So, and the robots look like they're happy and doing their thing. And to finish up those windows, we'll need some plastic here. If I can get in the right place. Alright, it's all sealed up. Everything's named, everything's wired inside, so we shouldn't have to crack that open. We'll put the housing here. And wire it all up. Oh yeah, and the script I'm using for the furnaces will be in the description as normal. I think I stated this before, and when I start a new series, the next new series I start, in that one I'll have all the scripts in GitHub. And try to make them a little more formal and with some little documentation with them and get a little fancier with that. Alright, so guess why this is here before I set it up. So the first hint is there's an initial step I do when prepping this system. Alright, so, and I guess it probably wasn't really needed. So the question I had is it really a vacuum in that little room there? So I figured I put a chip down so I can read the gas sensor, and yeah, it made a vacuum very quickly, so. I was going to make sure I didn't want it mixing, you know, the atmosphere gas from the room into the in that environment. Right. So this is the chip, and so effectively we set the housings, we set the vent and the gas sensor. So really, the chip does, the code does two things. It manages the two arc furnaces with duplicated logic, and then if the pressure is not zero, it turns on the active vent. If it's zero, it turns it off. Now, the chip is not on yet. That's why the vent is still running. Okay, so obviously that pipe has gas in it because that pipe is connected to a passive vent, and the passive vent is you know, bleeding air back into that pipe. What we're going to do here, I'm going to remove the pipe. By removing the pipe first, that would mean any gas in that pipe would move logically into the passive vent and into the room. So to prevent any magical gas, and I would not want magical gas to appear inside. I'm not sure where the magical gas goes. If it's split between rooms like that, I guess we'd go in both rooms. I don't think for a single pipe the gas is, I think they don't support that, I don't believe. What I was getting to is that if you have gas in a pipe and you delete the pipe, the gas just vanishes. So I'm just trying to avoid that scenario. All right, so now we need a way to, we want to isolate the volatiles out of the gas that comes out of that room. So we'll put a filtration unit in here. Turn that off. And we're going to need a bunch of pipes. So I'm looking at what I have there, so trying to keep the pattern going. This is the input. So I got to kind of get the pipes going here. Plus I have the wiring. Now, I probably should have gone ahead and moved that cable over one frame, get it out of the way. But I don't want to leave it there. Alright, so that connects to there. So basically the gas from the room gets put into that pipe, and then the leftover we want to route over here into this pipe here. So I'm kind of looking at how I'm going to run this line all the way across. and I definitely don't have enough piping, so I decided to pull this off. Now we're doing a lot of putting pipes up and taking them back down, putting pipes up, and kind of figuring this out. So I'm going to speed those sections up to 5x, so it's not too annoying watching me keep replumbing this. Some sort of like, all right, so we're back normal. Yeah, so we need to grab those for construction, and then we need to print a bunch more pipe up. Oh, we need some filters too. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'm trying to make more heavy filters, and we'll hit the arrow so I can control how many I get. So speaking of filters, so apparently with the future cargo Larry, you'll be able to actually use a robot arm to replace filters, and that would be not sure how much, given how long a heavy filter would last, I'm not sure it's worth all that effort to set all up. And then the problem with that is you have to, that'll take up some ceiling space, and getting everything plugged together and routed around will be kind of interesting. I guess you want a base to run for a very, very long time. You can set that up, or just go with the cheaper filters, and I guess go with cheap filters if you have an automated way to just replace them. I can work my ways up the stairs. Okay, we have our, trying to clean out my inventory a little bit. Let's see, we don't need that, we don't need that. We don't need the walls anymore. Actually, I need a different kind of wall. I need the flat walls. Need some steel. Don't need those. And we got one. Let's print the second one off. Hit the arrow. Got my little gardens over there just going along. Okay, let's slam some pipes over here, and probably worth my effort to flip those lights on. Kind of trying to, which I finally do. Try to route this around. And believe it or not, I will paint these before the end of the episode. And the other one's upstairs somewhere. The robot's still happy. Yeah, so with that temporary fix, the robots seem to be happy. Apparently, they won't fix that issue until the next big update, which will, I guess, bring all the robots online, which is fine because the temporary fix is no problem. All right, so I'm gonna put a one-way valve in here. I just want to prevent in the gas that comes from outside from backflowing into that pipe. So we got a one-way valve with a switch, and with the change, your one-way valves always have a switch on them now. Now at some point, I'm thinking about stop checking all my filters while I'm here. That one's low, that one's low. Gotta See how everything going. Oh, I was getting to is that the I would bring in the gas from outside from the furnace, and at some point I'm going to stop doing that, and I want to try to get things running just internal. So basically the only CO2 would be from the arc furnaces, and later from the water generation, because the furnace right now requires mining, so I'm trying to get everything closed circuit, work my way through that. And as I said, the next we have to get volatiles being generated automatically, and once I have volatiles generated, I already have the O2 collecting automatically, and then we can start generating the water. You know, fortunately on the moon, or actually on any environment where you don't have an atmosphere, cooling water is real simple. You just use an extending radiator, and because that's an extending radiator set up to take liquid as input. So you have water, which is liquid. So you just once it hits liquid form, you run through there, and if it's above, I don't know, 25 Celsius, you extend the radiators. If it's below that, you retract the radiators, and piece of cake. I wish they would take that extended radiator concept and kind of run with it a little bit more, even if it requires highly super duper alloys. Alright, so we're going to kind of dig down a little bit so I can get this vent. So this is the output from the second arc furnace that has dGas charcoal in it. And the way it's set up, it'll always be in units of, should be units of 50, because the stacker that stacks the output from the recycler does 50, and 50 gets sent through here and all that. Now, if you program your arc furnace wrong, you can end up breaking stacks. So instead of having units of 50, you can have other arbitrary sizes coming out. So the code for this furnace prevents that from happening. But if you do, I believe you use like a 2-chip design, 2 logic chips. It just takes input quantity and sets it to activate. That will cause it to break up the input up a little bit. Pretty sure that happens. All right, so why do I have the wall pieces? Next quiz. I have wall pieces with me. Why do I have wall pieces with me? And if you said to put up walls, that's not quite what I meant. Why am I putting up walls? That's the reason. This room will stay a vacuum for quite some time. Maybe not forever, but for a while. Yeah, I'll make sure the whole perimeter has, and I'm only putting one wall high. So that's your next quiz. Now, I'm not saying what I'm doing is a good thing. I'm just saying, why am I doing it? I think it's probably a good thing, or good enough. All right, so we got our walls. A little bit more over here. Fortunately, I had enough wall. That kind of worked out. I didn't really count or anything. I just printed a whole bunch up and grabbed them. This room is too big. Oh, I should have sped this up. Sorry about that. All right, now it's a little faster. I didn't want to go back and revoice that section. So, all right. So what I'm doing here is I'm drilling out the wall sections before I put anything on them, just to kind of push back any material that would go through the wall. It kind of bugs me to have stuff sticking to the walls there. So then when I'm going to slap some walls on it, boom, boom, boom. I don't think I actually, for what I'm using it for, I don't think I really need to, but I'm just in case I'm putting them on there. And then I'm going to pull these out so I can clean up that little bit of stuff. And all right, you all figured out why I did that? Yeah. Well, the answer is charcoal comes flowing down into that chutes, and it gets dumped into that room. and I didn't want them rolling off and dropping in between the off the deck there and dropping below the base or into the cracks or whatever. So I put the wall around there to sort of isolate that. I'm looking around out here, what's going on outside. So that's why I put the wall there. The other thing too is once I get the deep miners running, I'll have them just dumping out crap everywhere too, and then we'll work our way up to get things going. Yeah, I know people have a an idle thing that they have a chip that monitors their printers, and when they don't do anything, I guess don't do anything for a while, to turn them off. Update that filter. Some look checking. Check the logic. I don't need to recheck that. Yeah, those logic readers and slot readers are really useful for just like figuring out what's going on real quickly like that without sort of debugging or looking at variables. I couldn't use my configuration display because I couldn't get it in there because of the wall there. All right, so I'm looking on the pipes, just making sure everyone's happy and things are going before I hit the big switch. Okay, let's turn it on and stuff should happen. And there should be something in there and off it goes. And we are making stuff. Now I collected a little bit of biomass manually, and I want to get rid of that. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to make a little temporary input. So I can throw the biomass that I've been collecting manually in there and get rid of all that. And then once I do that, I'll go ahead and enable the start using the second centrifuge. All right, so there's no, I'll help to turn it on. And we'll find a little problem here. Yes, that's a problem. Oops, okay. Now there's a couple ways to solve this. And my first solution would be the wrong way. The second solution I do is I guess the right way, or it's a working way anyway. So I probably should do, I won't tell you what my solution is, so you kind of guess what I'm going to do. Oh, how would you do this? How would you solve, so that's the next question. How would you solve this problem? I have liquids that can, liquid pollutant that can form in this pipe. Although it seems if the filter is running, it shouldn't be an issue. It keeps up with it. But the generation of gas in the by the arc furnace is bursty. So if it's running, it's off gassing. If it's not running, it's not off gassing. So, but I will do something just to make sure we don't have liquids in that pipe and it blows up. Just making sure we have that extra empty tank. I'm not sure I'm doing it. I think I might put nitrox in there at some point. Now, if I'm on the moon, so I can be a little more wasteful of some of the gas, like I've been throwing out, O2 and other gases, just not bothering collecting everything. But if it was a little more difficult to attain things, then I probably would just collect all the gases except pollutants, probably. Okay, so now I'm thinking how I'm going to solve this. So we have biomass here. We're just going to toss that in. Probably should have thrown the other one in my inventory. And we'll toss that in. Now we're going to play robot. And we're done with that, so we can take that back off again and reconnect it. Oh, I need a drill now. we need a, well, I was thinking we need a universal disassembling tool, but then I realized that's probably a pretty dangerous thing to have. You point at anything, disassemble it. Ignoring creative mode, of course. Alright, so we're playing robot. We got that one going. That's going to auto start. We're going to leave. Nope, wrong tool. Okay. And yeah, we get still stressing that out a little bit. So I'm kind of worried about that issue there. Probably should have anticipated that. Alright, so we are getting volatiles. That's good. And we are setting the CO2 down, all the crap down the other way. Kind of looking at everything, make sure everyone's reasonably happy. Kind of thinking to myself, could I just ignore the pollution issue and just figure it keeps up, or should I have to deal with this problem? Yeah. Yeah, that's not good. I mean, I could put an inline tank on there, and that would give it more volume, so that would keep the pressure down, and so that would probably. But I think I need a more proactive solution than putting an inline tank and just hope it never has a problem. Alright, so we'll get a drain. That's good. So that's a... Looking at what I have here. So I already have one of those, so don't need to print another one. All right, so as you'll see, the first solution I'm going to try is incorrect. I forgot how the drain worked, and so we'll go over my thinking. So my thinking was, okay, so I got liquids in a pipe. Let's put a condensation valve on there, right? And that will pull the liquid out of the pipe and put it in a liquid pipe. Then we'll take the liquid pipe and we'll put a drain on it and dump what's in the liquids in liquid pipe, which is pollutants, outside. You know, done. And that is the wrong solution, but I just want to go over what my mindset was when I kind of did this, and then we'll go back and fix it correctly. I don't tend to deal with this issue too much because I typically keep the pollutants at a lower pressure, so I just kind of don't have the problem, or I dump it as gas outside and don't have the problem. If we keep dumping it outside, then the pressure is always low enough that it's not a big deal. All right, so there's my condensation valve. All right, because that takes liquids out of a pipe, which is goodness. And we put a liquid pipe on the other side, which is correct. Well, within this sphere. I guess technically I could use an active drain, and that would have worked, but we'll fix this in a little bit. Okay, just double checking we're not going to blow up here. I got a little time to get this thing fixed. Also, I probably should just turned off the arc furnace script while I'm doing this. I kind of left it running, you know, figuring, well, it's keeping up. It's going to be fine. But once I discovered the design problem, I should have just turned off. That way I wouldn't back up anything and give me a chance to resolve the issue. Now I'm going back and making the liquid drain. Make sure I still have my suit on from before, so I'll make sure that's all good. I kind of always do that pause before I go outside and double check I have my suit on. So there's the pipe. Now you discover I don't use a drain net often. Okay, we have... And why wouldn't the first one work? Oh, the other one was like an input type thing, not a drain. Okay, and I go, oh, why won't that go on the pipe there? And so I go, oh, that should be a gas pipe. Oops. And I'll route this back inside, and we'll clean that up inside. Now we put the pipe. Now we're cooking with gas, as we say. Now we have the passive drain here. Go back in, take out the condensation valve, and hook all that up, and we are golden. Don't need our suit on. I think I might be just a little bit short on the pipes. So I'll print a few more of those up. Let that running. I'll need a bunch more. Alright, so we'll go here and we'll... Yeah, this is where a universal tool would be bad, because I just... Like if I hit the tank and disassemble the tank while I'm sitting here doing this, that would be really bad. Of course, I got that drill in my hand. The drill will take out the main tank, but it takes a while. It takes a bit. So if I started doing it, I had time to stop. All right. So that should solve the problem. The pipe outside, so I'll instantly put a drain on it, and now, of course, it's empty right now because it's not running. But that should solve the problem. A liquid's forming in there, and we'll vent that out, and everything is all wonderful again. Should probably use those drains a little more often. The input gas coming in that was taken from the furnace was always so hot that, the pollutants turned into liquid. It wasn't really a problem because I'll filter it. I filter it hot and then I cool it after it's been filtered. So I didn't have a drain anywhere here before because it just wasn't an issue. So we're kind of checking the temperatures and what's going on around here. We got plenty of O2 and lots of everything going on. All right. So we are making volatiles. Now we still have, it's still not fully automatic because I still have to play robot here. I just have to set up a script, and what the script has to do is just sort of monitor that bin, monitor the other two bins, and just kind of drop them in the bins and have it toggle, back and forth. So if it puts something in centrifuge 1, next time it use 2, back to 1, back to 2, back and forth like that. Not actually a difficult script to write, but just being lazy. And printing up more pipe and load up with some more steel here. All right, so now we got volatiles being made and collected. What we don't know is can it keep up with the amount of wheat I'm generating or not. We'll find out over time. If anything, it's still going to generate a lot, even if it backs up. And the way the system is set up is if the chutes back up, as you said, from the robot script, the robots attempt to put something in the import bin and it not able to move it, it'll delay and keep retrying. So if I do back up, the system will deal with it. that'd be a lot of wheat backed up because those chutes are pretty long. So that'd be a heck of a lot of wheat floating around the system. And chomp some more food here. Live on French fries. Yeah, I think the French fries are a little OP. But, maybe the devs eat a lot of French fries. You know what I mean by that? You get a full 175%. I think that should be reserved something like it takes a little more work, like pumpkin pie or something like that, or at least make pumpkin pie like, you know, 300% or things like that. I wish you could boost your. I don't think there's anything that goes over 100 for hunger, and you get like your hunger to like the 300% or something like that. Eating something really good. I don't think so. Not currently. And that would make it worth, you know, all the work. You have like something that's really complicated to make, but you get like 500% hydration and 500% hunger. You know, that make it worth all that extra time to do that. Okay, we're putting a bunch of more pipes up. All right, so something else I need to do here is I have that volatiles, and the volatiles are what, about 100 Celsius, something like that. And I want to lower that temperature down. Technically, I don't have to. I can just sort of run the combustor either O2 rich or volatile rich, depending on what I have too much of. I think O2 is probably easier to make right now, so I'll probably just run it O2 rich. Or I can lower the temperature of the volatiles and make it a little more even. Oh, so we're all caught up playing robot here. That's good. And the other robots just seem happy doing their thing. And turn that light on, so you double check the, yeah, it's all, I got the plants growing, so it's all doing its thing, doing well. Just checking for any holes in the garden here. Now that one is by design because it just hasn't filled it yet. It'll fill it in a minute here. And so it's going to pull that seed out and I'm going to move it to the other one. And this one is happy. Yep, they're all doing its thing. So that little temporary fix is doing its thing, and they're doing well now. They haven't actually cycled completely yet. And there it goes planting that seed. So, or it tried to pick, it realized it had nothing in the arm, and then it moved on to the next one. Now they're gonna have a new hydroponic arm, which can do some fancier things and run a little fast. Checking my water supply, which I haven't looked at lately. So the key now is generating enough water to keep up, so I don't have to mine anymore. And we're checking our pollutant filters because we're going to do a little painting here, so make sure they're still good. And everyone's happy here. Almost. There it goes. And I forgot which one. We'll just put it over here for now. So we're keeping up for now. Yeah, these don't work that great, but they're small and they kind of fit in there. They take a little while to go, but kind of stick it right there and make sure it matches what I have over here. Probably squeeze. Well, they're nice because they kind of fit in here really well for the piping. I guess I could probably squeeze a large one in here, I guess. Okay, so this bottom section will go to the volatiles, and the top section I'll route it to the CO2 line. And the CO2 line is actively being cooled. I'll just let it kind of work its way down. Now, if I want to cool the volatile way faster, I think just putting an active cooling system on that would be better. So basically the same thing I have on the CO2, I would put on the volatiles. The same with the O2, just have its own active cooling system. But we're going to try it this way. My hope is that I'm not generating volatiles that quickly. Once it catches up, it'll be enough to keep it cool. So now we want to route this right over here. The pipe's getting a little more messier than I like. Into here. Double checking. Yep. That's all CO2. And that tank. The tank is done. Now we're continuing to add nitrogen because we're still processing that hot gas from outside from the furnace. So it hasn't cooled all the way down because we keep adding more. So we'll see how this is. Oh, it's pretty hot, hotter than I thought it was going to be. Now it's possible in my design having those two chambers connected was not optimum. That I probably could have separated those out. Yeah, pretty smarter. So what I'm thinking now, so my two arc furnaces are connected together. The advantage of that is that I only need a single active vent. The downside is I'm mixing the volatiles with the CO2. Now there's pollutants in there too. If I separated those and did them in their own chamber with their own active vents, that means the output from that could go directly into filtration, and what I don't filter, I can just dump outside immediately and not run that large pipe across. The other thing, it's possible that running it twice is heating up the gas hotter than it could have been. So I think if I did this in the future, I would put a wall between those two chambers and put in two active vents. I got plenty of ports on the IC to do that, so that would be an improvement there. All right, so I ran the volatile line outside, and I can't quite squeeze in there, so I'm going to pull off that. Exchange off. It needs a different tool. So we'll snake this over here and down like that. So this allows me to run the volatiles downstairs. Now I did not reconnect the heat exchanger because I need to paint that first. And so let's see what we need here. I don't think I have any red, so print some red up. Haven't used a tool printer in a while. Alright, so let's get some. Time for some painting. Okay, so paint. That last little bit there, and that way from the outside, I can see what's what. Looking for anything else that needs to be red, and that's all that. I'm gonna pop this back on now. Make sure it's the right way, right type, and boom. CO2 line. our O2 line. The reason why that tank dropped is because I add those pipes, which drop the pressure a little bit, so it's still catching up. Oh, I just realized I made a mistake. Oh, that's not good. Do you spot the mistake I made with my O2 line connection there? Yeah. So I have the connection outside for the O2 on the wrongs on the output of the pressure regulator, and that line going outside should connect directly to the tank. So I need to move this stuff around a little bit in the next episode to fix that. Okay, so that's a bug. Yeah, my little cooling system's working. No ice is formed or nothing blew up, and we still got. And that's why the nitrogen tank still hasn't cooled down, because we keep putting more and more hot gas in there. Yep, everything seems. Now, at some point, these tanks will get too full. I got to deal with that issue. What they need is probably either just. I don't want to stop the whole thing, so maybe just vent out outside if it gets over a certain amount of pressure, sort of a pressure relief system. And we'll play robot a little bit more. Let's put it in this one this time. Okay, so I think next episode we'll automate that. Okay, we're done here. We unmake the lights. Yeah, yeah, lights. When you turn them off, we have them on. You turn them off, you just notice the difference. Now we're in a cave type thing, so they definitely help a lot. Okay, I think we're done with our paint stuff for now. We'll throw in our corner. So then we'll go ahead and try to mount those, get those deep miners, at least start that process. So I grabbed the steel sheets for that. I don't actually fire them up or anything. I'll just start getting that process mounting. Yeah, at some point I want to, once I start to, I'm generating my own CO2, should be enough. I should be able to disconnect this pipe and not stop, and just stop processing the gas from the furnace there. All right, so we're going to sneak into our little hole here. Probably need something a little more professional or formal to get in here. Oh, and we got our charcoal. This is why I have the wall there. The charcoal is just got a lot of charcoal here. That'll be our use for steel or our backup power supply. All right, so we got our deep miners here. Obviously, we can't put them on. We got to put a hole there for them. Yeah, I don't tend to play with deep miners all that much. Because really, for the most part, obtaining ore is not that difficult. Because once you have the sensor lenses, you know, and getting ore is really, you know, if you need something, go out and just grab it and real quick, and it's not really a big deal. But I figure I would go ahead and kind of play around with these things. And grab our steel. Long weld going on here. And I didn't realize we need some electronic parts. It did tell me how many. I didn't realize how many we need. Now, I'm separating these out by one frame. That was a mistake. I'll think next episode I'll actually move it. I think I'll move it over one back, so it's next to the other one. And we'll pop those out. I mean, I have a lot of room in here, and I'm not going to put too many in here, but it makes some of the plumbing easier. Now these are actually like 3 frames high, and this room is only 2 frames high. But since the roof is a frame, the top of it sort of is buried into that top frame. That's a little on the cheesy side. I will agree with that. Just a tip of it though. So I need some electronic parts, and I didn't really look how many I needed, so kind of nice with the base lit up like that. Yeah, that nuke battery, I definitely go a lot longer. I have to keep swapping batteries as often, so between switching the wireless and a nuke battery, definitely spending a lot less time swapping batteries. Alright, so we gotta do some electronic parts here. Kind of worry I have too many lights going on here. Now they do have a sensor that detects if you're in the room. They have a sensor to detect you're in the grid. I don't think they have a sensor that has like a distance, like you say if you're within 1 frame of this sensor or 2 frames of this sensor. Look through, I didn't see anything like that. That'd be nice to have, because then you could have I could have multiple sensors, and that way the lights would come on and off depending on where I am and the base. And we'll do another, so I can isolate the deep miners on its own transformer. So you see I printed up 4 parts, and it's not enough. Alright, we're going to go back down and weld that up. Yeah, we're getting close to the end of this episode, so I'm just sort of kind of screwing around with the deep miner before I start anything big here. Yeah, I need something better. I'm thinking about in the other side to maybe put a staircase down. Something a little more nicer than flying around the corner of my little pile of charcoal. And this is the one I moved, so it's the wrong one to... oh, I used it all up. Okay. Well... I think I have enough recording now. We're just going to call it quits. Alright, so we're about to end of the episode. I'm going to fly back and go into the base, and then we'll just call it there for episode 20. We are generating volatiles now. It's not 100% automated yet. I got to play manual robot for now, but we are at least generating volatiles. So until next time, see ya.